What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about KTA, Keeta, the cheetah today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Here we are on this wonderful day, the 19th of October, up 27%, which is nice. That's nice. But overall, from the low of yesterday, the 18th, we're up actually 69%, which is sensual. That's really nice to see. Now, the question here is, have we found a low? Are we moving higher? Is this the massive sell-off and now we're in recovery mode where we're going to go up to all-time highs? Or do we still have lower to go? You know, in moments like this, whenever you pump up a lot, you might think, hey, we're done. We're not moving lower. That's the low, right? Just like we did back here whenever you had a nice 42% pump in a day. But you still actually went lower. You actually even saw a lower low than what your most recent low was right there. We could come back down, find a double bottom. We could come back down, find a higher low. We could come back down and find a lower low. Any and all of those options are possible, especially because where we found support, it's not really anywhere that makes sense, right? It's not really anywhere. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. From a low to a high here, you are right below the 1272, and in that aspect, it makes sense. But with this Fibonacci extension here at the 1272, it's very common to bounce, find resistance at the 786, 886 zone, which we are rapidly approaching right now, and then to continue onwards and downwards to your golden ratio, which I might add, the golden ratio here is right at the top of this zone here. I mean, if we put a flat line, let's just put a straight line there. It's like right there at the top of this area. So I like KTA. It's one of my more recent purchases. I'd like to purchase more even. I don't care if I purchase more here or at higher prices. I don't care, let alone if it's at lower prices. But I want to be cautious, okay? We're going to look at the indicators. We're going to see what we see, and if we can determine if this is the low. I'm just speaking out loud here. I'm thinking out loud here as far as what the possibilities might be. And the reality is this is a nice move, but it can still get given back. The reality is, even here from 47 cents, we could see something that takes us below 20 cents, which would be nuts, which would be absolutely nuts. But at the same time, it wouldn't really be nuts, because if you look at this for what it is, we had a massive phase of distribution here. Clearly it was, right? We look here at the charts here on TradingView. This is KTA on Kraken. You got released at the high, right? That's probably the biggest exchange that you're on. Blowfin, you got released not at the high, actually, but at the high points of the market overall. MEXC, which is probably the second biggest exchange, right, between Kraken and MEXC. Those are probably the two biggest exchanges by volume. You also got released at the high. A lot of selling pressure has happened because of these exchanges. That's all I'm trying to say. CoinX, same thing, right? A lot of selling pressure has come in, and we know it was a distributive top because, again, all these exchanges listed. So we're distributing. Maybe this is a little bit of volatility. This is a breath of fresh air on the way down. It absolutely could be. But there is sense to be made of this finding a low here. So let's go over the indicators, and then we'll move on with this. Okay. But again, I'm not saying. I want to try to be clear with my words here. I am not trying to deter anybody from buying KTA. I bought recently at higher prices than it's at now. You know what I mean? If you're buying here, you're literally buying at a cheap. You're going to outperform me on my most recent purchase if you buy here, right? But again, I'm looking to buy more, and I'm certainly not buying here. I wish I bought down there. I was thinking about pulling the trigger, and we're going to go over why I was thinking that. But again, the thought here being, why are we going to find support here? It doesn't really make sense. But maybe it doesn't need to make sense. Maybe this little blip right here is enough to hold support. I don't know. We're at the 1272. There's reasons enough. It could be. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom out, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, 29% today. That's phenomenal. Love it. Love to see it. 15-minute time frame. Let's start on the 1 hour time frame. Yeah. Nice movement. Not a whole lot of volume here, but again, that's okay. This is on Dex Screener, so this is on KTA on Aerodrome. Most of the volume's not here. It's on the exchanges, right? We look at the volume here, and you can see, over the past hour, you've had 169,000 KTAs being transferred or traded. Today, here, just on Kraken alone, we had $2.29 million in volume, which is a lot more than 169,000 KTAs. Let's see the last hour even. The last hour was 319,000 dollars. On TradingView, they do dollars. On Dex Screener, it's the total amount of coins. Does that make sense? So like in volume, this says 169K. That's 169,000 KTAs that have been traded. Where on TradingView, this is in the dollar amount. It's not just the coin amount. Either way, it's still a higher number nonetheless. But all I'm trying to say here is, looking at the volume here, we are decreasing in volume as we move up. But again, is that a problem? I don't know. We look at this, and you're not really decreasing in volume as you're moving up. So I'm not going to worry about the volume too much. In fact, it might be best on this chart to disregard the volume entirely. Looking at the RSI, we had bearish divergence and we just got rid of it. Very, very bullish. I'll tell you what, man. Getting as high as a 87 on your RSI, finding support above the overbought zone, and then pushing past that 87 high. Very bullish circumstances. I like what I'm seeing here. This is definitely, it's like we're moving up with the purpose. This is almost like, dare I say, exchange buying pressure. You know, and you're not listed, if you notice here, you're not listed on Coinbase, you're not listed on Binance, you're not listed on Bybit. Could this be exchange buying pressure? After all, we were at a very, very nice low. We were at a very, very nice point, and we're going to go over that. There were signals that this could be the low. It's just it didn't make sense from a price action standpoint, but there are indications that was the low. The stochastics are bullish. They look very bullish here. And the MACD is also very bullish, to be fair. You do have a little bit of bearish divergence, but still very bullish. And you can get rid of that bearish divergence just like you did with the RSI if you just keep moving higher. Very bullish on the 1 hour. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a pullback at any moment. Again, because if we're looking at this, we zoom out, we are right now where this dotted line is. We are right here at the low ends of this overall top range that we were at, right? So we could be finding resistance at prior support, in other words, right? That's sensible. 4 hour RSI, the strongest reading we've seen in a while. That's a very powerful reading, especially because you were so weak here. But this move is incredible. It's incredible, to say the least. So these are the kind of moves you want to be a part of, and you're in the overbought, and you're actually at a higher level now than you were at either of these two levels. Barely above this level here, but this is the highest, the strongest reading that you've seen in a long time. We're not going to take that for granted, right? Same thing with the stochastics, and the MACD here is about to cross above the zero. A lot of positives going on here. I will say with the MACD, oftentimes enough with the zero, you do get tied up here. You find resistance, so look for that, right? We've made a nice move, 69%, 70% over the past 24 hours or over the past 48 hours. You know, maybe we take a break here. Maybe we do pursue higher prices. Perhaps this is the low, and even still, we could find, you know, some turbulence and then continue to rally. Just because we're moving higher doesn't mean we can't see higher lows along the way, right? You're not just going to move in a straight line, but you never know. You got a low enough market cap, man. This thing's got a $200 million market cap. These kind of coins can just get pushed through the roof and defy gravity all the way through. It absolutely does happen. Looking at this here on the daily time frame, here's where things get exciting. This is what made me think that we have found the low, or that we are at a low area, right? This is what was preventing me from buying yesterday at the lows, was that we didn't interact with this level yet. We were super close, but we didn't interact with it, and I had a feeling we might interact with it. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Did we do that on these charts? No, we didn't. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe it's not as important to interact with this because, again, you didn't really get listed on any exchanges until you were here anyways. So as far as any exchange on TradingView is concerned, as far as any trader who's looking at this chart on TradingView is concerned, we actually are at all-time lows. You see what I mean? Like, this is the all-time history on TradingView, not on Dex Screener. Dex Screener has the real all-time history, but this is it defined on TradingView. So here, we're at all-time lows. You might not need a reason to go lower. Maybe that's reason enough, and that's it. And you found support, immaculate support, and you're in the same areas here where you moved up. 3 days later, you're all the way up at a price of like $1. You know, maybe people are looking at that. Maybe most traders are looking at this. They're not even looking at Dex Screener. Maybe the people with a lot of volume, the bots, the dynamics in trading and forecasting, maybe they're paying attention to that. They're not paying attention to this. So again, the reason why I didn't buy was because we didn't hit this level. But maybe that's not necessary. Maybe we reached for it and there's too much buying pressure. Who knows what the reason is why we didn't hit it. If we look at the MACD, this was absurdly bullish, and this is what was making me want to buy. And I wish I did. I wish I bought more because this was a powerful signal. I listened to the price action instead of listening to the indicators. And oftentimes I feel like you need to listen to the indicators over the price action. But sometimes it's hard. You know, it's hard. It's it's like I've been here before. I've pulled the trigger just above. The price goes where it obviously was going to go anyways, and then you're like, why didn't I just wait? You know, the difference between 27 cents and 20 cents, it's decent. It's a decent difference, right? And plus, I'm already allocated in KTA. I'm making excuses here is what I'm doing. Let's just move on. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. The MACD, man. The MACD, higher lows in the histogram here, bullish divergence to the maximum effect. It's beautiful, right? If you ever see this, where you're getting these histograms, you see how it's getting higher lows like this? And we say higher lows because the dark red, that's a low point, that's a low point. The light doesn't count. The light color doesn't count. It's all these dark colored parts. They're all giving us higher lows, okay? And granted, that one was a lower low technically right there, but whatever. Higher lows overall. Now we're flipping green. We've just flipped green for the first time since September 24th. At these low points with this massive bullish divergence. We're moving up with a freaking purpose right now, you guys. This really makes me think that the low is in. Like, it's hard. It is really hard to be bearish right now. And whenever I say the low is in, I mean, like, man, you better sell your car and buy some of this right now, because we're probably going to be worth $1 or more tomorrow. Like, it's gonna, and I'm saying that kind of kiddingly, but at the same time, again, back here, it took us 1-2 days and then we were up at 82 cents, right? 2 weeks after that, we were all the way up at $1.68. I mean, we could very well move, and this thing moves with a purpose. It's a solid project. We could very well be moving just like this, but to new all-time highs. Like, you might not get another chance. It's hard to say, and that's why, again, I say if you're buying here, you're buying at a cheaper level than I most recently bought, which means that if you're buying here, you're at least outperforming me, and if that's incentive enough to get you to buy. I bought just above 50 cents, so we're right there now, in case anybody's wondering. I'm pretty sure I bought right above it, because I bought right on the 9th, I want to say. Like, right, it was the 9th or the 10th, right before that crazy day happened. Maybe it was the 10th. Maybe it was like the beginning of the 10th. I want to say I bought just above 50 cents, so I think it was the 9th. Maybe I bought just below 50 cents. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was just above 50. Anyways, the RSI also bouncing right off the oversold zone. The weakest reading that you've seen in your whole life, because this is the true all-time history for KTA. This was and is the weakest reading we've ever seen. You bounced right off the overbought or oversold zone. You're having an immaculate reaction. This is exactly what you want to see if you're finding the low somewhere. This is exactly what you want to see. The stochastics having a positive reaction too. What we're doing here, if we close here today, there's very little doubt in my head that we will see anything but more green days to come, because typically you don't turn around right here or right here. Typically, if you're up in the bands after being oversold like this, you go all the way to the overbought zone, right? You were oversold like this for a long time. Whenever you both crossed up, whenever the orange line and the blue line were both crossed up here and you got to these levels, you continue to the overbought zone. Whenever you were oversold here, same thing. You continued up to the overbought zone, right? There was no, even here, whenever you turned around, you didn't get oversold again. You got overbought before you got oversold again, right? You typically don't stop until you're in the overbought zone, which would imply at the very least several days of growth to come. We just keep moving up as I'm talking, so. The hesitation that I had in the beginning of this video is mainly to protect any of the people watching this video from FOMOing in at the top. It's never fun to FOMO in at the top. Be aware that the price can definitely fluctuate from here. But the end of this video, I feel like I'm less hesitant now, and I'm more like, dude, get in. Sell the house, put it all in here. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Don't actually sell your house. Make sure that you need a stable living environment, right? We need that. Otherwise, we can't think straight. You need a place to sleep. I don't think anybody's going to actually sell their house, but you gotta be careful, because people are crazy out there. 48 cents now, man. We really could be at $1 or more by tomorrow, by the next day, by the end of this next week. I mean, it's very possible that if you buy here, we could even go lower, right? We could see a lower low. So you have to be aware of both sides. All in all, let's make this appetizing. Why would we want to buy here? Well, the reason why we would want to buy KTA at these levels is because, for one, it really does look like the low is in. Other than this cookie cutter nitpicky thing of mine where I'd like us to interact with this zone here because that makes the most sense. Structurally speaking, it makes the most sense. Who cares? If we let go of that one aspect, this is an absurdly bullish recovery. It's a dramatic reaction at key levels on the daily time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, with this bullish divergence on the MACD. I mean, everything is saying all systems go, and we just keep moving up. If you need a reason to buy, the best reason to buy is to know where we're going. So from this price here, my projection is, my theory is, we're going to see new all-time highs. And here's the deal. Even if we go to lower lows and we do interact with this zone, we're still going to come back up and see new all-time highs. Okay, so one way or another, this will provide to be true. But whenever we see new all-time highs, the minimum at a low end, The small end of the spectrum as far as expectations go is a 5.6x. The high end, the tall order, is about a 10, almost an 11x. So 5.6 to 11x from the current price. That's the expectation from here, right? Something between $2.75 and $5.16. And yes, a 10x from here would give us a $2 billion market cap, and a 5x from here would give us a $1 billion market cap. I wouldn't be surprised if we found resistance at that psychological level of $1 billion. Hey, right there, $2.75. Close enough right there. Or maybe we go higher and we just find resistance at the golden ratio, which is at, coincidentally, just above $2 billion there. It is possible we could go higher, of course. You know, let's talk about that outcome real quick. From a high here to a low here, we did, after all, go all the way up through our 2886. We went all the way up through there. So even if we were to go up to our, let's say our 1886, not our 2886 this time, that would put us at $8.39, which is ridiculous from the current price. We're not even at 50 cents. And that's a 17x. Crazy things can happen. It's a low market cap coin. It's a layer 1 blockchain built on base. Like this, you know, it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting aspects to KTA, and I think that it is largely undervalued, but time will tell. Anyways, I got nothing else for you guys. I've talked long enough. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, and good job, Keeta the cheetahs. Good job to the cheetahs. Shout out to the cheetahs. We are, anybody investing in KTA, you are the cheetahs. We are the cheetahs. That is what it is. All right, take care. Bye-bye.